did it! I did it, guys! I completed my very first half marathon. Wow. Oh, wow. Truthfully, it's a few days since I did the run. I just needed to take some time to recover. Whew. And I'm gonna talk right now about my experience. If I've planned this right, you'll have already just seen the footage that I recorded the day of, which I don't even know how much it was, probably not even a lot, to be honest. But honestly, when I finished that run, the last thing on my mind was, let me vlog. No, I was completely exhausted and I just wanted to go home. Once I got my medal, I think that was the last thing I recorded. Once I got my medal, I love my medal so much, you guys. I went on the long walk to collect my drinks and my snack box, and I went and took a picture with the little sign that says I did it. And then I left. It was complete chaos after the run because of all the people hanging around to wait for their family members who were running. There was a lot of people at the event and I was honestly completely overwhelmed with it and I just didn't want to be there. I would have loved to, if I was feeling different, go and take a picture with like one of the princesses or something, but because I was so exhausted and in such pain, my only thought was, go. I want to go home. I did some stretching. I made sure I stretched and it was like a last minute decision and I was like, I need to stretch because if I don't stretch and I have this long drive home, I'm gonna really hate myself. So I made sure I stretched for like 10 minutes and then I went to the car and I sat there for probably a good 20 or so minutes talking on the phone with Ray, just talking about my whole experience. And then I left and I drove home. On the way home, I decided to stop and get some donuts because I mean, I deserved them, okay? When I pulled into my garage and got out of my car and took that first step after sitting down for quite a while to get home, I was like, oh my gosh, I seriously wanted to die. Honestly, that's how I felt. I felt like I was dead. I can't even describe the pain that I was in unless it's something that you've experienced, and it sucked. Oh my gosh, everything just hurts so bad, you guys. So let's talk about the whole experience because I just rambled a lot about how I was feeling after. Let's talk about the experience. So this was my very first half marathon. If you guys are new here watching, I decided in 2018, it was Thanksgiving Day 2018, that I decided I wanted to run the 2020 Disney Princess Half Marathon. At that point, I had already missed the signups by many months for the 2019 Princess Half Marathon. So I said, you know what? I'm doing 2020. I want to do a Disney Princess Half Marathon. I don't know what I was thinking. So crazy. So, I had well over a year to prepare for this. And, at the time when you're looking to something that's far off, you're like, oh, I got time. Well, it's not until you're really close to the actual thing happening that you realize, oh my gosh, I don't have a lot of time and I haven't prepared how I should have. And I'll be honest, I did not focus all of 2019 as I should have. I wasn't training right. I wasn't doing anything really to help me for this half marathon. Again, I had plenty of time to where I could have trained so well that I would have ran this whole thing. But I didn't. I didn't take it seriously. And I totally 100 million% regret that. If I could go back in time and tell myself, Tony, just really put in the effort, because when you get to this run and you do it, you're gonna feel so proud of yourself for putting in the work. I didn't put in the work. And I'm proud of myself for completing it. Don't get me wrong. I am so proud to have this thing. But how awesome would it have been, that feeling knowing that like I worked so hard training and I had an epic PR. That's what I don't have. However, I'm really proud of myself for doing it. So yeah, I just didn't train, and if you were watching these half marathon training videos, I did have a good, I don't know, 6 or so weeks where I was trying, and then the holidays came, I got all screwed up, I lost my focus, the beginning of the year came, I was like, oh, you know, just, I'll get it going. I didn't really get it going, and then we went on a cruise, and I had all the intentions of working out, like continuing my workouts on the cruise, and I didn't, and then I came back from the cruise, and right now it's been like a month since I worked out, almost a month. A month this Friday since I have worked out, and that is horrible. So I went into this half marathon not having ran since, like really run since December, and not having worked out for 3 weeks. What was I thinking? I'm like, I'm just gonna do this, whatever, no big deal. No, you guys, don't ever do that. Like, I am the perfect example of what not to do when doing a half marathon, or what not to do when training for a half marathon. Please, if you're somebody watching this who's maybe having just the tiny bit of thought of doing a half marathon, take what I say seriously and don't do what I did. I'm telling my future self this, because no matter how hard and painful it was, I will do another half marathon one day. For sure, 100%, I will do another one. So I went into this totally unprepared for it. I knew I was unprepared, but I just wanted to finish it. And I had thrown any thought of having any time goals out the window. And you know what? That helped me feel so good. Driving there that morning and getting there and sitting in the corral in the morning felt so great, knowing that I didn't have pressure that I created for myself, that I just went into this with, I'm gonna have fun, I'm gonna do my best, and I'm gonna finish it. That was it. So it allowed me to just truly enjoy it and do the best that I could do at that moment. And I am so proud of myself because I did the best I could. It took me 3 hours, 30 minutes, and 30 seconds to finish this half marathon, which is horrible. The minimum time requirement that Disney gives you is 3 hours and 30 minutes. However, that time does not start until the very last group of people cross that start line. So I remember when I was like 5 miles into this run, they were still sending people out. And at that point, I was probably 1 hour, just a little past 1 hour into the start. So they started at 5:30. So you're talking about at 6:30, an hour later after the original start, people were still starting their journey on this half marathon. So I wanna say, like, the total time from the very first group of people that get to go until the very last person crosses that finish line, the balloon ladies they call them, I feel like they give about 5 hours of time. So I had plenty of time. I could have like waited in line for every single character, I'm sure, if I wanted to. Maybe not every single one, unless if I was in Corral A for sure, I could have probably waited for every single character. So yes, I started, everything was going great, you guys. I was feeling so good. That first 5K, the first 3.1, I was great. Started doing the second 5K. We were approaching Magic Kingdom into, I want to say like mile 5 is when we started getting into Magic Kingdom, and I was feeling good. And then I remember telling myself way before the run that when I get into Magic Kingdom, I'm gonna walk. So I did a little bit of running, but mostly walking through Magic Kingdom just because I love Magic Kingdom. And the fact that I was getting to do a half marathon that went through Magic Kingdom was just so exciting. And I got to go through the castle, you guys, like, that was like just so special to me, and it meant so much. So I got to run through the castle, and oh, it felt so great. And I was feeling really good. After we went through Magic Kingdom, we got to go in the backstage area of Magic Kingdom a little bit, which was so cool because you saw some of the parade floats back there, and it's like you just don't really get to see that. Like the parade float that Santa Claus sits on was there, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. It was awesome. And so everything was so great, like the first half of this half marathon, right? When I got to mile 8, I was like, man, I'm starting to feel really tired. And I counted on my hands, like 8, 9, because I couldn't think mentally, so I had to count. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, I have 5.1 more to go. I'm like, okay, I got this, Tony. You got this. Only 5.1 more to go. And I went on my Facebook and I posted, I'm like, just past mile 8, only 5.1 to go, you know, just so people could know. And then, you know, I was going, you know, again, things are starting not to feel great. And then I remember around mile 9.5, I was like, man. And then Ray had called me and I'm talking to him for a little bit, and then I'm coming up to the mile marker 10, and I remember telling him that, you know, my feet hurt really bad. Like I feel good from like my legs up, but my legs hurt really bad. Everything's burning. It's really painful. And I was coming up to mile marker 10. They had like a big school band playing all their instruments. And I was like, hold on. And I'm like passing this band. And after I passed the band and I saw mile marker 10, I was like, oh my God, I'm hurting so bad. And I started to think really negatively, and I told him, you know what, I gotta go. I can't be on the phone, I gotta go. I was walking at that point, to be honest, like a power walk. I was like, I gotta go, because I already visualized, I'm talking negative about myself. I have a long way to go. I need to focus and stay positive and not let these bad thoughts bring me down. So I hung up and I was like, oh my God, okay, we got 3.1 more to go, 3.1. I'm walking, and it was just like, it was really painful. I remember taking some steps and bringing my knees up to my chest as I was walking, like these big high steps, so I could just like stretch that muscle for a second, and it was hurting. And you know, I passed mile 11, and then I'm just like wanting to die. And I remember thinking, God, please just help me finish this, Lord, help me finish this. And it was around, I want to say mile 11.5 that there was a gentleman who was a spectator, and he was holding a medal. So I believe he probably had already just finished, you know, or not just finished, but he finished his run a long time ago, and he decided to go watch people, which I thought was so amazing. Like, I want to go watch people one day and cheer them on, because now I know how hard it is. And just having people tell you, you're doing great, you're doing good, it helps so much. It just gets you to keep taking that one step forward, one at a time. So he was holding his medal, and he reaches out his hand. He's like, here, let me give you some energy. And then he lets me go, and I start running, and I'm just like, oh. And then the emotions started hitting me, and I remember my eyes tearing up, and I probably looked so distraught, and tears started falling from my eyes because I was in such pain. Like, my legs hurt so bad, and they were burning so bad, and it felt like I had to do another half marathon. Like, I wasn't anywhere near being done. It felt like it was gonna take me forever to finish that last bit. You know, even though I had already done so much, I still felt like I had so much more to go. I'm having these feelings, and I'm trying to tell myself, but you're almost there. Like, you've done the hard part. This is the last little bit. Like, no, I was beginning the hard part. The hard part is at the end. Let me rephrase that. So, you know, I passed mile 12, and I'm like, okay, one more to go, 1.1, you got this, Tony. That last mile felt like it took me the longest to do, and it did. I think the last mile probably took me about 20 minutes, when the first half of the run, I was averaging 14.5 minutes per mile. Then it started to slow down to 15 minutes per mile, and those last few miles really dropped in time. So, you know, like, I was done. And I'm like, I have to finish this. And I'm just like, take one step at a time. Everything's on fire like I've never felt. My feet are throbbing like I've never felt. Certain steps I take, I was like, oh my God, is there a blister on the bottom of my foot? Like, what is happening? My toes hurt so bad, the tips of my toes from like touching the front of my shoe so much. And it was just like, it was in such pain, you guys. And then I remember as I was probably at around mile 12 and a half, you start to see wheelchairs on the course. And I'm just like, what in the world? I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not ending it that way. This will not end with me sitting in a wheelchair and then wheeling me to the finish line or wheeling me off to a medical tent and then I don't even get to finish the run. And you know, and I get like a did not finish. No. We're not gonna do that. We are finishing this race, Tony. That's what I told myself. So I keep going and it's like, at this point, I'm walking so slow. Like any bit of running stopped a long time ago. My power walking had stopped a long time ago. Not a long time ago, but it stopped fairly a little bit behind. That didn't make any sense what I just said. But that stopped, so I'm just casually taking one step at a time, just trying to finish this thing. And then I get just out of the backstage area of Epcot and I see mile marker 13. I'm like, oh, thank God. I remember taking a picture of myself in front of mile marker 13. I look horrible in that picture, by the way. I'm like just defeated and I'm trying to smile like, hey, look at, I did it. No, let's be honest. Like I was dead inside. And so then after I passed that picture, I start walking a little bit and I'm like, I cannot walk to the finish line. Tony, you can't walk to the finish line. You have to run to the finish line. Like it's right there. So I had to dig deep inside and whatever bit of energy I had in me, which was like nothing. I mean, there was like a speck of sand left in me as far as my energy. I tried so hard to ignite that and I jogged to the finish line. I thought I was running like a beast, but I was probably going so slow. But in my head, I'm just like moving so fast, you know? And I get to that finish line and I cross it and it's like, I did it. I was done, you guys. And then I got my medal and I called Ray and I wanted to start crying and the emotions were going again. So that's it. I did it, you guys. I did it and I'm so incredibly proud of myself. I set a goal a very long time ago and I completed it and I'm so excited to say that I'm part of this like small group of people who have done something so incredible and have pushed themselves mentally and have fought that mental battle, because it is the most incredible mental battle. I mean, like, you can get through the physical stuff, right? Like that's hard, but the hardest part is your head. The hardest part is what you're telling yourself. The hardest part, you saying, I can't take another step, but then you take another step. I can't take another step, but you do it and you keep going. No matter how much your body tells you, stop, you keep doing it. That is what this is about. It is about pushing yourself to a place that you've never been to before and conquering that thought in your head that says you can't do it, because you can do it. Anybody can do it. And I'm just so proud that I did it. And I'll do it again. I'll do it again. That's the craziest thing, that I will gladly do this again. It's gonna be a while though, because like I said, I need to make sure I train properly and I'm doing everything right so that when it comes time to perform, I don't have to be afraid and I know that I can do it. If anybody's out there wondering if they should do this, totally do it. Push yourself. Just do something you've never done before. Just start, take it slow, one step at a time. Every time you set out to do a run, try to be a little bit faster than the last time. Even if you beat yourself by 1 second, that is amazing, because you know what? If you beat yourself by 1 second in an entire year, every time you went out, you could seriously be minutes faster, and that's huge. It might not look like a lot, but it totally is. So yes, And that is it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I will see you guys whenever my next video is. Bye.